Breeze, and we're gonna need to look at these comps. I like the Astra hover.
Astra hovers.
Love that.
There's
And
that
honestly,
Harvard.
yeah, I know it might be a joke hover here, but I want to talk about the Astra for a second, just in case it is real, because I think Astra's really good on this map if played correctly with like a Viper pairing, and then you have like the Sova and then maybe a Jet Yoru, so a little more of a style of Gen G that we're very used to. I hope to maybe see something like that here. I think these teams are coming into this with innovative minds, but nonetheless, it looks like ULTRALIGHT are going to play the same thing they were playing in the group stage comp-wise.
Yeah, I'm interested because there's 3 smokes hovered on the side of Revamp right now. I don't know what they're gonna pull through with. I do think that what you said about the Astra though, that could be a really fun pick. She's a great agent that does not get enough like spotlight.
Yeah. Agreed.
Was it a neon hover? Am I gonna? Oh, but she's. I think she's gonna swap back to the harbor.
Yeah. Patrolling us against the agent picks. All right, there's the KO. Okay. So they're gonna play a meta comp here. So the KO. Yep.
Well, we got one harbor. We were right on one thing.
Yeah. So I'm excited for this. I do like the comp from Revamp. It's tried and tested. We see that comp, I mean, like 90% of the time on this map. But the solo harbor, that is one thing that I kind of harped on many times throughout the group stage from ULTRALIGHT. It worked for them in one of their series. I think we saw the solo harbor game. I think it was against Spectrum with ULTRALIGHT on this very map. So they made it work against that team, but can they make it work against a team like Revamp is my question here.
I'm not sure. So I think Revamp's definitely a very aggressive team. I do not think that harbor wall is gonna stop them. I don't know. I feel like they're gonna flash through. They're gonna push straight through that harbor.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
And here we are, folks, hopping into the action. Revamp versus ULTRALIGHT. I mean, this is so exciting. Only 10 seconds left on the clock as teams get ready for this first round here, and we already see the stat coming towards A. Here we are. Those of you at home, make some noise. Get your water ready because we've got a long night ahead of us. And the early 0 point to come in here. And right now it's a triple stack on this site by Revamp. They're going to find 2 here, but as the high tide comes right on through, somebody looking to come onto the angle, but backing off here. And you see the rotations coming in nice and early right now from ULTRALIGHT in this mid-round.
Interesting.
And the Cypher trip's not for main either, so you won't exactly know when they're out. Gets onto the spy cam here, but looking for the first pick here. He sees the damage coming through. Cage is going to come through right now, and Shadowbane, he's managing it very well, giving his team enough time to rotate. And look at the instant flank coming through, but look at where Regental is. It's very dangerous. He's very low, but he very close onto that angle and a little early into the retake. Going to get punished there. So right now, only 4 left standing for ULTRALIGHT. And coming into this pistol, teams looking to make an opening statement going into this playoffs. Somebody dashing right into the site here. Close angles being hold. Penguin looking for it. 2 bodies fall and trades come right on through. And as trades continue to come through, it's still a man disadvantage for ULTRALIGHT. And he's caught out in the open with 100. And he has 4 on the round already, and Jupiter left in a clutch situation. Regental, 26 HP, classic in hand. Tap comes right on through, and he's low HP. He's going to have to tap onto it again. And right now, ULTRALIGHT staring down the barrel of success in this first round, and there it is, Anna.
That was played out very well by ULTRALIGHT. I'm not very happy with what I saw from Revamp there, though. First of all, obviously their setup toward B was a little weird. You know, usually you want to get that unbreakable chip. Yes, you know, there is that Sova that can break it, but that gives you info, like, immediately, right?
Yep.
And the Viper wall. I don't think I've ever seen that Viper wall, personally. I don't think I would ever use it. I'm interested to see how it works for them. And then lastly, in their retake, that dangerous corner, they did not check.
And a triple peek to come through. Trying to get ahead of it now. Revamp going for a nice early answer to what Ultralight are presenting early into this game. And already the first pick coming through with the sheriff of somebody. Ultimate orb grabbed, and right now you see Eve is looking for that opening on B, finding out what the Cypher setup is, looking for the trips, get ahead of it. You see him, he's already out onto the site. Shadowbane playing around the corner with the shorty, but they're going to have to clear this off. They know he's playing this site. He's coming around the corner, but he gets the first pick. Gun not going to get recovered. Regental able to land him down before the cage comes fully upwards. And right now, Revamp with a man advantage. Might be able to make good damage out of this one, but looking a little unlikely. Jupiter sniffing for information over here by half wall. As two of his teammates flank. Bando and Maelstrom, as the bomb starts to tick, they're going to have to get onto the site and make quick work of this retake right now. And Haven going on to the angle, still landing the bullets, and somebody with a headshot to follow up. But Haven landing all of the kills going into the round, and as the bodies drop, they answer onto 3 bodies onto UL, but still a round recovered.
Well, there goes my answer on how that Viper wall is used. I think actually that was good for the retake. They were able to take quite a bit of space on the flank. That was interesting. I'm still a little concerned because I do think it could be a bit more useful toward mid. But it's interesting. Not a bad bonus round or eco round per se. But, see.
And I like so far how much Ultralight is changing up what they're doing here, but Shadowbane with an early kill through the toxic screen there, able to land it down. And right now you see the stack from Revamp. They're aware at the way already that Ultralight like to shift the attention on this map. They've been so proactive about it. But Revamp are finding those answers. And I think last round, them getting those 3 picks in that eco was indicative as well of that. 100. Gonna go back onto the angle to take anything down, but it's an awkward mid-round, and look at how many rotations are coming out from Revamp back towards A off of this noise cut. There's a very large open window of opportunity right now for this team to get onto the site.
Revamp already rotating back over toward B.
They're going towards mid too. These positions that are being held by Revamp are so unconventional as well. You see them just ready for any rotations, but because they held towards that mid position, they're able to get back over here towards A quicker. So they have 3 here, but they're not able to stock them through the choke point. And as the spike goes down, suppression onto site, he gets the information, 1 backing up towards main and 1 left on site with low HP. This round's still pretty much recoverable, but 1 with low HP, it's so unlikely. Somebody going to the angle here. And Reckoning to come right on through. They're trying to convert this 3rd round here. And go for that bonus, but Penguin with the wrap towards mid. Making all that's much more possible. Jupiter landing onto the head of Penguin though. Making this one much harder to deal with, and Regental coming onto the angle gets caught out with the nade in hand.
Beautiful round from Rendezvous there. I was a little concerned, you know, they were rotating fairly quickly, but that patience in the mid area is definitely the entire reason why I think they won that round.
Yeah.
They caught on to the fact that, you know, the way Ultralight is playing, they're making so much presence, and then they're often rotating, right? I think every round so far they have rotated. So for Revamp to catch on to that is pretty big. I wonder if Ultralight is going to come into this round with maybe a different type of play.
This goes here.
We'll see.
Yeah, and that's usually a question that has to be answered really early in the game. Because in the LCQ, we saw a lot of teams not having answers early. And we talked about it a lot in the groups as well. Teams not being proactive to the change of style, the change of format in the game. And in a game like Valorant, there's way too many variables to not be creative with that, right? And so that's a pace change I hope to see early, as you were saying.
So far, it seems very similar to how they played
Here.
other rounds.
Here.
And there's the null command to come right on through. High tide. Invested over there towards half wall. But look, there's 3 behind this wall here. Presumably going to flash right on through to get ready for this one. And you see the Hunter's Fury coming out from Jupiter to assist his team. Takes down the planter there. But Eve entering onto the anchor of the site.
Spike planted.
Right now, the man advantage is even. Neither of them gaining that. But Maelstrom on this flank is going to be able to find an opening here. But Eve doing really good damage with the operator right now. Finding value time and time again. And that's something we talked about in that group stage. And this map is so good for that weapon. They're going to have to deal with it early here. Going into this retake, 2 left standing for the side of Revamp. Bando trying to come onto the angle, and Maelstrom going for the peak. Regental taking him down, and right now Bando left in a 1v3. And a very unlikely one at that as Regental goes for the peak there. Aware of the positioning on the site. And there's the round 3 conversion for UL.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought whenever that exit came out, that Revamp was gonna have that.
Yeah.
I mean, they were stacked. They were ready for that push. But they kind of choked. I'm not gonna lie. Eves with that op, you know, I love to see that. I think this is such a great map for opping. On attack, little questionable, especially holding backside like that. But I hope to see more.
There it is. Always finding that opening pick.
Just the immediate. I think here's that pace change that we were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Much slower on ultralight.
And I think that's a style that's somewhat necessary as well on this map when you have that attack op on your entry. Finding those picks, looking for the mistakes by the defenders. They already found it up there in halls too.
Take flight.
It was a really good opening to take, but as the plan shifts over here towards the B site, Shadowbane is already met with a lot of utility as it starts to dump. Flashed off of the angle, and right now trying to deal with the recon, and they're aware of his positioning. So far, playing around it really nicely. He takes one down, almost gets the next, but Haven to trade it off. And right now, you see this retake coming in so quickly right now. Unable to hit the shot there by Eve, but Haven backside doing the damage. And once again, only 2 left standing for Revamp. They're having a really hard time dealing with these takes onto the site. And it makes me wonder, how are they going to change this defensive setup moving into these next rounds as well? So far, it's just contact fully for Ultralight. They're trying to look for those opening picks with the operator, and they found it this round. And then they just immediately shift the potential, or attention rather, looking for where the re-aggression is coming from to re-clear angles and to deny that operator any deeper sight lines.
I think on defense here, there's 2 different ways that you can play this, right? You can either, you know, hold close, wait for the attackers to show some presence, push in, or you can play your utility to your advantage, right? You can flash, you can take space, you can catch someone off guard on the attack.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking with the way that Ultralight plays, you know, they do stack pretty heavily. I think that, you know, getting aggressive, you know, getting a flash and maybe getting a pick and then backing out and then playing those close corners is probably the best way for Revamp to take this.
Yeah.
Not sure. And of course, the timeout comes round 5. I don't even know what I can imagine Hugo is telling them.
Definitely a pace change here. I think what you said was right on the nose. I want to see a little more defensive aggression from them. Right now, they're kind of allowing Ultralight just contact up into these angles, looking for operator peaks, and that's a style that we see on an attack op almost on any map, right? You have your jet opping. We see it on Ascent as well, looking for those picks towards Heaven on A, or maybe towards CT or Market on B. And here on Breeze, it's the same story. And looking for it in halls A. Mid especially is a big one. Mid doors is always a big fight for operators, so they need to find that presence early on so they can look for the closer range gunfights on other sides of the map to deny that operator so much space to post up.
I think also, obviously, on the side of Revamp, they can't really know
We
this.
can come back from this.
But on our side, I think I've seen Ultralight's KO flash their entire team like 3 times by now. So getting aggressive is definitely gonna punish that.
Yeah. And it's funny because during that timeout, we were talking about wanting to see some more aggression by Revamp. But you can see Ultralight. They were playing 2 people in spawn right there, off contact with the spy cam, looking for the aggression from A. So they were kind of ahead of what they thought was going to happen there. And the attention once again coming back towards B. They spent a lot of these rounds dotting their I's and crossing their T's, looking for where the aggression is going to come through. And they just rotate into the Cypher. And I don't think we've seen any convincing rounds from Shadowbane that he's able to anchor this site when this hit comes through. So presumably they're going to see maybe a Viper come towards this site and have Cypher play towards A and give this Viper an initiator to play with. Because so far the tripwires aren't enough to stop them.
I agree. I mean, we saw the Viper a little different. I think an orb toward B might be worth it.
Yeah.
I think investing that utility to hold them back because they're just overwhelming Shadowbane.
Wait a minute.
Player standing.
Oh,
Oh, somebody?
yeah. I thought he was going to defuse there. Whew. All right, or heart attack over. Back to what you were saying.
I'm amped. Let's go. I got things to
What
do.
was I saying? I don't even remember. I was yapping.
Whew.
Oh,
Maelstrom.
the Viper. Investing utility to hold down B better.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, they're just rolling Shadowbane, which I think we already see that difference. We have 3 people toward B now.
Put Ultralighter A. Oh, no. Like, they just have a perfect read on this. It's too funny. Instant break of the dart there. And this is the same type of hold we saw last round, but it was only Cypher and Harbor here. Keep that in mind. And this is a setup that Revamp haven't seen yet either, so they can exploit this for so many rounds too. And that's what makes it so powerful. The 0 point to come through, looking for the information, but he didn't gather much. So you see the rotations not coming through. No true anchor found on the site, and as the round, it looks like Ultralight were expecting them to change that defensive setup because their take towards B was so free, so they just switch it to A. They have control of the tempo of this map right now. Regental just fighting forward into this. He's confident. He knows they have plenty of rounds to play with, plenty of util, plenty of money. So you see him trying to grind this null command. Going forward for the kills here. Still playing around the angle. Finds the next one. And now he has the Opera to deal with.
Oh, wow.
Looking for a peek onto the Maelstrom there, but he's backing off of the angle right now. Look at how aggressive Regental has played this round. He's still going into their spawn. Trying to shut down the save. Looking to take the operator out of their hands, but he's not going to be able to do it.
And he doesn't.
But I mean,
Wow, their reads.
Play as a team.
They have a red
So,
revamp
what's the plan?
every round.
it's impressive.
Yeah. And they're gonna re-hit B now. Right, because they know revamp stacked B because, you know, they expected that hit to come back again so they went A. But revamp is gonna stack B again, which I think is a good plan.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to see an early pick with this op.
Deploying drone.
And these kinds of reads, too, a lot of times can be gambles, but they're educated gambles. And I think that it's smart for them to keep this setup, considering Ultralight didn't quite see the way it was. And look at them getting aggressive towards A this time to get the information earlier as the rotations come through. And it's Bando. He was trying to get proactive there, but he was on an island. No support from anyone there. Those are not things you can do against a team like Ultralight. Gonna need that support if you want to be able to land a frag. So right now, the hit coming back over towards A. And the lurk from Penguin from mid, I mean, it's just textbook right now.
Oh, yeah, that's the off out for free. Okay. We're gonna pretend we didn't see that. But great lurk. Still a good lurk.
And that angle from Eve is so annoying. Oh, he backed off it.
It's still possible.
Oh,
Nowhere to run.
tap onto the spike there, but Hunter's
lied.
Fury gonna come through. Yeah. Not gonna be able to get it.
Last player standing.
Oh, yeah, but they didn't get the half.
Yeah. I mean, those
I
are nice
mean-
kills on the side of Revamp, but it just doesn't matter. Ultralight have way too much money to invest into these rounds.
The retake was great. You know, there's a lot of potential in that retake. But Sova having that ult, they needed to stop the bomb so much quicker.
Yep.
And I think with that, right, we should see the Viper and Cypher toward B, right? But leave the Jet toward A. So, hypothetically, we should see UL, you know, see that there's a Viper setup and a Cypher setup. And they should rotate into the triple stack.
Yeah.
But
And that's a perfect plan.
Enemy mark.
But there's always a plan until someone gets punched in the face. The Reckoning coming right through onto this B site. So we're going to see how this Cypher and Viper setup fares over here. And right now as the Hunter Fury comes right on through, Jupiter lands the first one, and that's onto the entry and landing
Spike
80
planted.
HP onto two other players, and they still haven't killed either of the anchors on this site right now. They're both alive and well. Shadowbane and Maelstrom. And as Shadowbane goes down, Maelstrom looking to follow up here. But right now that tripwire almost stopping him onto the angle. Penguin just being a nuisance right now in this backside position. And they're really putting this new defensive setup to the test. Somebody,
Enemy
the
remaining.
triple click, taking him down and revamp. There's the clapback they were looking for.
Perfect. Oh. They're finally finding the momentum that they need. I mean, I believe, you know, if they play it that well, they play their retakes right, they can pull out a 5-7 half.
Yep.
Just, so. Again, you know, the Cypher and the Viper set up toward B.
Right here.
But the Viper's
Ooh.
leaving. They're reading the A here?
I like this.
Yeah, but
They're where they gave Ultralight a look into the adjustment. So they're looking to readjust again, but Eve, time and time again, finding that opening pick with the operator. Makes for another awkward situation there. And Maelstrom with the Viper's Pit activated towards A.
but he drops it.
Yep.
Gets pushed out by the drone.
Anna, look at Regental.
Oh my.
Yeah.
They left.
He's going
Hall's
to catch these
completely
rotations. Yeah.
He might catch Viper. Oh, Viper's dead. Maelstrom.
Oh, there we go.
And that's a free A site.
Yep.
Spike planted.
It's like round after round, they just keep finding the holes left and right. And again, Regental just going for the peaks himself, taking matters into his own hands and defender spawn there. But that's the kind of confidence you can have if you're Ultralight in this scenario. You have enough money to do that. You have enough rounds to do that. And the other thing about it too is they're trying to get in their faces, control the tempo of this game. And Revamp are letting that happen. And that's why they're taking these unconventional fights here. But right now, a clapback comes through from Jupiter, but Eve, once again with the operator, landing onto Jupiter there, and Haven playing around the angle, looking for the last pick. Shadowbane to take him down, but 100 to trade it out, and 3 left standing for Ultralight. I mean, this half is such a wash.
It's just mistake after mistake on Revamp's part. They're too impatient, right?
Yep.
They know by now that the way that Ultralight plays, they're gonna show presence, and then they're gonna cut noise, right? You don't know if they're rotating, you don't know if they're not. And it's okay. Sorry. I'm just trying to make a read. But they're rotating every time.
And Maelstrom, he's looking for a hero play on B, but the drone comes through, forcing him off the angle. And even the 0 point added to that. And they usually invest that back sight, but because they know what the economy is like on the side of Revamp, you see them clearing out closer corners differently. And that's what's so nice about this roster on Ultralight. They're aware of how their opponents like to play. They're aware of the arsenal. Coming over towards the site. Now that they were able to get that second cooldown out of the KO there. Maelstrom trying to play the long-range Bucky, but doesn't work out. Double entry, I mean, just comes through for Ultralight. Make that 3. Eve taking down Shadowbane there. And what is that position from Penguin? I mean, they are just walking all over them. Yeah.
Once again, I'm dying because they don't clear their corners. I'm a little disappointed. I was really hoping I wasn't gonna see that again.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I mean, I don't know what to say. Revamp, you know, they're broke. They have really broke their force buying what they can, but Ultralight, they've got everything. The initial
And there it is
outfit
again.
coming out.
Yep. It's almost like it's every round now. And they tried to answer with it using a 0 point, but still able to get off of the angle without the use of the tailwind. With the Reckoning coming out onto the site, they're looking to push past the harbor wall there. It's taken down by Jupiter, but it's still a man disadvantage for Revamp. We see 2 on this flank, and this is the win con right now, Anna. This has to go huge. This flank here. First pick comes through, and Eve looking to drop down and go for a shot, but an uncharacteristic miss comes through. Looking for the second one, but Shadowbane onto the angle, and right now the Neural Theft is in hand, but Penguin is posted onto the angle. Yep.
Last player standing.
Gotta make quick work of this one. It's Penguin versus 2. He's able to make it happen. He just runs right out onto the site with his knife out and gets out of dodge. And Shadowbane not able to answer.
Wow.
Switching sides.
I mean, I don't know what to say. It was, like I said, mistake after mistake on Revamp's part. And the defense was their pick too, right? So I'm interested to see how they're going to play attack. I'm hoping that it's better than their defenses. I'm hoping, you know, we're going to see them playing together, getting trades. Maybe getting a lurk up toward mid, you know, going nest. But we'll see. I know these teams have, like, VOD reviewed against each other. They've stratted against each other.
Scanning 3 towards lobby there. So far in this pistol, you can tell the game plan of Revamp. Shadowbane looking to listen for noise, listen for those rotations, and call them off to give his team a contingency plan in these mid rounds. And as he does that, the team taking control of this A site here, but the numbers are already here from Ultralight. Eve getting that opening pick. And the flash to come through from Regental, going for another pick there, and Eve landing one down. And so far, Regental and Eve playing around the site so nicely. And so far, not a single answer from Revamp in store other than Shadowbane on this lurk. He's at 65 HP, and they're very, very well aware of his position.
Cage triggered.
Yeah. Wow. Ultralight looks so damn good right now.
I mean, it's textbook. I don't know what I anticipated from the coming from this game. I mean, first I didn't expect the Breeze pick, but they're playing this so well.
Yep.
Revamp, you know, they played that round, like going into that round, they played it well. It wasn't bad. Ultralight just knows exactly how to clap back.
Uh-oh. Flashed his teammate. $100 getting aggressive towards Halls here. Trying to look for an opener.
No more secrets.
And there it is. Scan still comes through right before the poison orb comes up. Really making a nuisance out of this position, and that's something that Revamp didn't deal with well on their defensive half. Is that Hall's position. You see Revamp trying to exploit that now on this offensive half, but Penguin left onto the site here and gets out of dodge.
Scanning ahead.
Once again,
That
the
was-
knife out.
Yeah.
Planted.
Last player standing.
Just somebody left here. 85 HP, Sheriff in hand. Can go for the damage here. Does get the first.
Nice shot.
Tap onto the spike and almost hits the second shot, but here's a trade to
So
come through, and it's
close.
12-2 for Ultralight.
Match point.
Seeing going into the this match, we're gonna see both teams force up. But here comes another timeout. Do you think we're gonna see something slow or something quick from them here?
I mean, they've been taking a pretty middle pace in a lot of these rounds, I think. It's not necessarily slow. It's not necessarily fast. I think they're trying to get a read on what Ultralight's defensive setup is. They're trying to, you know, check off all the boxes, but it's not working because I think even in the pistol round, we saw they were 4 stacked towards A lobby, and then we had Shadowbane over towards Elbow trying to find the rotations and the sound cues from B, but they didn't really react based off that because if I remember correctly, I mean, he heard 2 people rotating off B and they were still committing to A. And, you know, with that information, you can only assume the stack is on A if there's 2 rotating off B. There's either like 2 anchoring and there's 1 mid doors, and that's exactly what they ran into as well. So there might be a miscommunication with that. I don't know, but I want to see more rotations called. So I think I'm going to see it play slower to answer your question because with the style that they're playing in the early round, that's really the only option they have mid-round.
I absolutely agree. I think we're gonna see a default maybe. You know, they're gonna play a little slower, see what they can find, play those rotations because they can't just hit the site, right? They need to figure out who's there and how do you play around that.
Yep.
But they're mid.
And that is a wall I have never seen. An interesting one.
That is a wall I hope to never see again.
Yeah. 100. He's been such a nuisance in these halls. He's already in their spawn too. So they're gonna have to re-clear that space, but Jupiter pushing up towards mid right now, and it's a solo hero play. And this is what's necessary for them to really get into these rounds. I'm all for it if it can work.
Right here.
Goes for the peek on Eve there, but gets put down to 10 HP, and the fragments come right on through, but the wall bang first from 100 takes him down. And here's the peek to come right on through. They flash into it. They're trying to get proactive here, and it's working so far, but there's 3 grouped up on the side of Ultralight still. So the fight very much so even as the plant finally comes through on the B site.
They need to play this post plant to perfection. Be gentle on the flank. Somebody is ready for it.
Yeah, he has to get this pick. Looking for it there. He sees the gun barrel. Going for the shots, not landing any left. 7 bullets left in the chamber and 76 HP. But the bodies start falling, and Bando, he's looking for the angles. He's going left and right and everywhere. And it wasn't enough. 13-2 on map 1 for Ultralight. Wow.
Oh, wow.
What an amazing Breeze game from them.
I mean, I was expecting a closer map, but I was sorely mistaken. Wow.
That was
textbook
wild.
from Ultralight.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate Breeze, but after seeing that, maybe I'll hate it a little less. Just
Right?
a little, just a tad. I still hate it, but you know.
Well, I'm a Breeze stan after seeing how Ultralight just played that. I mean, that was just a beautiful game left and right. And I don't even think that the lack of success on this map from Revamp is indicative of any individual performance. So nothing really to talk about on this leaderboard other than the fact that Jupiter just popped off really hard on the Sova. But I think this was all strategy. It's all mid-rounding. It was all about the reads. And Revamp actually could not find that during these rounds. And it was just honestly a clinic by Ultralight. But going into the next map, I don't know. What do you think about the series now? Because this is insane momentum to have in like the opening of the playoffs. There's so much confidence that can be said on the side of Ultralight at this point. Do you think this is a 2-0 sweep?
Honestly, I do think so. Right. So what we're seeing from this game is Ultralight plays around each other so much better. Right. They know how to take the rounds. They're getting those reads on Revamp that Revamp is just not getting back. I think from just the way that they played, we can anticipate that there's a big difference in how the IGL is performing on each team. Whoever is like calling for Ultralight here is doing an amazing job.
Yeah. And they didn't even have to take a single timeout that game too. I mean, the reads with whoever's IGLing the roster, I mean, it's just textbook left and right. The reads are there. And honestly, looking at this, there's no crazy like big performances either. Everybody on the roster popped off too. Very even game from the entire squad. And usually seeing a stat line like that from a team is indicative of like how good they're playing together as well. We saw them going for the plays, Regentil and Eve playing a lot on defense together. Eve going for opening picks, Regentil going for flashes. There's also a lot of times where Haven and Penguin would play an extremity together and probably go for like a spy cam contact play. Like they honestly had all of the boxes checked in terms of synergies between these agents. And that's something that like honestly a fundamental you have to have understanding on every single map. And I just didn't see that from Revamp here on Breeze.
Yep, I definitely agree. They played so good together. Like that is what I aspire to find with my team, right? I want to be able to take those fights together, play off of util, and just find that synergy, right? Because synergy is so important whenever you're in a team setting.
Yep.
And it doesn't seem like Revamp has found that yet. There might be some stronger picks right now, like an ISO, for example.
And in agent select here, we're gonna find out where it's coming. So he's hovering the Reyna, but he's been so good at the Rays, I really want to see it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. ISO is definitely proving to be a really good agent right now, especially in high-elo ranked. I mean, we see an ISO and a Neon every single game. It's crazy. Yeah.
That's such a great combination. I mean, you throw that vulnerable, your Neon goes in, and that's a free kill for your Neon.
Yep.
It's almost like you can play ISO kind of as an initiator.
Yeah.
I like it. It's fun. It's different.
I think we actually might get that from Ultralight. Now the thing is, this comp that they're hovering, I don't want to be baited again, but okay. I was gonna say, yeah, solo breach is kind of hard.
I had hope. You know, maybe they're like, you know, maybe not a breach.
Yeah.
Pull something different out. Have some fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's that raise that you're looking for.
Yep. Echo KO. Okay. Pretty standard comp here. But on the side of Ultralight, I want to take note of that Neon pick, because the thing about Neon that I've understood for a very long time is that she's very, very heavily countered by strong Cypher presence. So you need something to deal with those tripwires. You need a plan of how to get rid of those unshootable trips. And we don't see really a Sova in this comp, and I'm not saying no Sova is really necessary, but a lot of ways that people dealt with it is either a Sova breach comp or even a raise to throw the satchels at it. So what I'm excited to see from Ultralight with this comp, particularly when they're on attack, is how are they going to deal with the choke points with the Neon in juxtaposition to the raise.
So in a different setting, I would probably agree with you, but I'm actually going to disagree here. simply because with how the last game was played, we've seen that Shadowbane isn't the most strong Cypher player.
Yeah.
He places
yeah.
doesn't place his trips like right on that choke point. He places them elsewhere. So I feel like the Neon might get a free entry, right? As long as they keep an eye out for those trips that are placed deeper in the site. I don't know if it's going to be as big of a problem as in a different setting.
I actually agree with you. You changed my mind. I like what you said about that, because I did notice that actually about the way he plays his trips. They're a lot more passive. I mean, we saw it on Breeze as well. There were a lot of times that Ultralight were actually just able to walk out onto site on B site, and most of the time that's usually just not possible when you have a Cypher on that map. But I think he's trying to change the way a Cypher is really conventionally played and try to like catch them off guard with different types of kill trips. But just like once you give them access to that choke point, because they were playing like that jet, they had like the harbor going, like you can be super dive heavy with it with the coves and everything. So I think it makes it hard to still deal with the take coming in. And I agree with you. I think they might get a really good look at B site.
I'm excited to see.
A little bit of a pause here waiting for the players. Nonetheless, while we wait for them to get ready, I want to talk a little bit more about A site, because B, we talk a lot about the Cypher, which, you know, a lot of times, 80% of the time, we'll see one playing over there. How do you expect them to deal with this A? Because I've seen a lot of teams one-weighing this box that we're looking at here on Shadowbane's point of view, and maybe like play around it. We saw Rendezvous, like if they're playing against a Sky, they'll tuck super deep in a spawn. But one thing we usually see in these comps, I think in all these teams, is a Gecko, right? A Gecko or a Sky that can get that information towards A. But what's different here is they have a breach. They can't get that early info that you could get on those other agents. How do you think they're going to deal with that?
So, I think they're gonna be aggressive, maybe. You know, I think Omen with that paranoia, we can get the paranoia, we can get the fault line out, and they can fight together. But I think I would prefer to see the KO toward A, right? Because KO at least has something to get that info that is so important toward the A site. But instead they have him toward B, which I'm not sure how they intend to play that out. I mean, I do think having someone there to support the Cypher is great, but I wouldn't choose KO to do it.
Yeah, 100%. I think Cypher provides that information regardless, and I think KO would be really good towards A. But, I mean, it's Ultralight. They can do anything. They've shown in this entire tournament that they can make situations that maybe we have a different look at. And they seem very well rehearsed in this, so I have a lot of faith in it. Now, switching the conversation to this attack for Revamp with the KO Gecko. Do you like the KO Gecko double initiator? I personally do. I think it works really well. But what do you think about it?
I love it. I think Gecko's a very strong pick, and obviously KO is good on any map, right? He's just one of the strongest initiators in general.
Yep.
I think they can get a lot of value.
Agreed. Moving into this, see, it's the KO looking for the space, looking for that unbreakable trip, and he found it. Dropping the spike here, going for a peek into the angle and breaking the trip, but Eve is just so quick to the punch. And that's what we were talking about, dealing with that tripwire on B. And it's already claimed one body. We're going to need to keep a count of that in chat.
Eve with the first blood.
Yep.
I'm leaning toward B. That's interesting because I know that Eves is such a heavy presence. So to push his site is an interesting decision.
And as the push comes right on through, Wingman going for the plant there, but they're not aware of where the camera's at, so looking for the pick through the smoke, and there it is. Ultralight with such a quick answer into this take already. And Bando, the last one left here. Now, Revamp made very good work at this main position before against their other opponents, but this time, not able to deal with it. Bando looking for the crosshair adjustment, but doesn't find it. And Eve already coming to this map real hot with 3 kills in the pistol. And I mean, I didn't even talk about it before getting into the map. Eve is on KO.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's just the layers to this roster.
I mean, I think Eves and then Neon. I unfortunately cannot see who is on Neon. It's not. I can't see it, so I'm not entirely sure.
It's 100. I think
100
was on Sova last game, yeah.
So Eves and 100, they held that down really well together. I mean, having 3 assists on Neon after first round is pretty impressive.
Go, go, go.
You don't really see that very often, so I think that that's awesome.
Gotta go.
Eves with an Odin. Okay. Interesting.
Ooh. Going on to the tap with a spike there, but it forces out the peaks of Revamp. So the kills all coming through immediately. And right now puts Bando and somebody in a clutch situation here. Aftershock forcing them off, and Neon's already here. The shock to come through. He's looking to do the damage with the stinger, and he does that. But Regentle claiming the last 2 bodies there. Wow. You were right. Aggressive towards A.
Oh, I mean, Haven and Regentle just shut that push down immediately. That was exactly what I was expecting from them.
Yeah.
And they did it. They did it so well. Wow. I mean, I know that I said that I wanted the KO toward A, but with how well they're playing, I mean, you do your thing.
Yep. I just knew they were going to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of KO, I mean, Eve is so flexible too on this roster, finding so much value and able to play so many different styles. Going from a Jet attacking operator to a KO defensive Odin. I mean, what can't this guy do? Playing towards
Bottom
market
side?
here. Yeah, true. That's one thing he can't do.
Lots of heavy mid presence here.
Yep. And that's scary too, because honestly, on one side, you're going into Eve and a Cypher setup of Penguin. And on the other end, I mean, you're just going into an Omen Breach. So look, that's why exactly they're coming up towards his top mid, which is such a smart play from them, but he's in the smoke, and they're able to catch him out. And I love this answer right now from Revamp. They found the hole. They know where the pressure is at. They know where the presence is at. As they come onto the site here, they're aware that the Breach likes to play towards A's site, so presumably playing a little more cautiously around these corners. You see Bando looking over towards Elbow here. And 100 onto the angle. Going for a punish there, but the timing, not able to find it right now, and he's going back into the angle right now, looking for a kill, but it's not enough. Regentle so far into this bonus, Ultralight not finding any ult or economy damage. So Regentle trying to change that narrative, going for the pick, but Bando able to take him down, and the full body spray.
Wow.
Oh, it's on.
Bando was a little smart there, right? So he satcheled in, and he looked away, anticipating the flash to come through. You know, he was patient despite the fact that he was pushing very fast toward Breach there. So I like to see that, you know. I like to see that he's smart. He knows what he's doing. How the 3 or 4 people shooting the bodies? Yikes.
Regentle's operating on Breach. All right. Just when I thought I've crossed everything off of my bingo card. I just love this. And Revamp don't expect this either.
They're holding so passively.
Yep.
I like the change in pace.
Oh, Regentle caught out there too. That's an operator he lost as well, so we're gonna need to come into that and recover the weapon, and they did. 100 using that neon movement to get out of dodge. The early 0 point coming through there, trying to deny any sort of utility to take any further progression off of this site from their end, but Eve landing with the operator. He can do it with Jet, he can do it with KO. Going back in for another peek, looking for it through, but it's Penguin towards main. able to take one down on the backstab, and right now Shadowbane trying to deal with it. He does get one, but Eve with the readjustment over there towards the site. The thrash to come through, and he still takes it down. They just can't deal with Eve right now. And the first pick and 2 to come on the board for somebody.
That's right. You tell
Nice crosshair adjustments there. I mean, Ultralight made that look so dangerous.
I mean, Eve, you know, flicking over it to get that operator kill. That was beautiful. I expected Ultralight to be able to pull that round out. I mean, we've seen that their retakes have been pretty good in the past. Unfortunately, that was not the case, but wonderful round from Revamp. Catching that breach off guard earlier on, that was perfect. That's exactly what they needed to take that site.
Once again, you see them shifting this attention towards mid. And it's a good pace, too. It's been working for them. And that's why you see, look at these rotations from Ultralight. They're so aware. When they don't get that early contact towards B, or even just something as sliver as a peek towards A main, they know Revamp are trying to take this mid space. You see 100 playing with the Bucky in the smoke. And they might even flash out of it, too. My goodness, what a read. And Havan ready to recover that smoke there. They're playing so patiently right now, Revamp. Both teams showing a lot of progression in this series so far, and it's honestly impressive to watch. Shadowbane with spike in hand. You can just see the brains working on both sides. But the only thing that...
out of mid.
Yeah. And that worries me though, Anna, because they haven't broken that mid door. So that's not really selling any sort of presence elsewhere. So you see them coming and stacking towards this B main, but look, all of Ultralight is already here because there wasn't enough presence shown around the other sides of the map. And as the spike gets planted here,
Spike planted.
coming right into this retake, and right now 100 with the Bucky, looking to get scrappy with it. Regento to take him down though. But Revamp in that group stage, they were so good at playing around this angle, but the Rolling Thunder comes right on through and distorts their way of getting onto that site. And right now the blinds going left and right. They do take down the diffuser, and the kills going the side of Revamp. The bodies dropping through the smoke. And before the retake, we knew it. They're so good at playing that angle there, pinging the bomb.
That was a firing squad.
Yep.
I mean, bullets just flying through the smoke. I mean, that I don't think I've ever seen them really fail that like hold from that angle. Right? They all just sit in main and they spray, and there's nothing to stop them. There's no stage wall. There's no harbor cove.
Yep.
There's nothing. I see. Box talking to Ultralight. What do we think they're saying? I mean, they're not necessarily doing anything wrong. Maybe taking more space if they're in a retake, like stopping, you know, the post plant from being able to be as impactful as it is.
Yep.
I think being more aggressive, like that aggression toward A that they had before, worked out in their favor really well. I'm not sure.
I wasn't expecting this timeout though. The timing of it definitely questionable, only because, like you said, I don't necessarily see them doing anything wrong. I just think that the mid rounds really just come down to who has the better gamble. Because if you think about it, it really is all gambles. That last round we just watched, everyone was just sitting in corners, like towards mid, which is okay because there's a lot of passive info gained from that. But because Ultralight weren't fighting any extremities and because Revamp weren't making any noise, both teams were really just gambling what the information really was in that mid round. So not much the coach could really say about that from that round, but presumably just to get the boys back on track. Look at this. Already ahead of the one-way, but getting punished out on it. But Haven able to trade it out. And it's clinical from Ultralight. You always see them take fights like that together. Never giving up one.
So that one-way kind of backfired a little bit on 100 there.
There.
The stack toward B.
And he sent the wingman too far. Errors like that make it a lot harder to get into this, but Shadowbane answering on the Haven here. And Eve gonna be the difference maker into this round. Trying to look for the kills. The Paranoia comes right on through, and Bando pushing the angle, takes him down. And there it is, Penguin looking to come into this one, but a showstopper in the hands of Bando is gonna make it so much harder, but it doesn't even matter. The Phantom and the Vandal landing onto the heads of Ultralight. And there's Revamp with the lead.
I mean, going into this, I was really hopeful for them to be able to pull a closer game. They're looking good. They're looking like Sunset might be a good map pick for them here.
Yep.
Which, you know, I'm excited. That means more chance for us to see map 3. And I'm partial to seeing that map 3, which I can explain a little bit more about later.
Now, I like the stack here from Ultralight as well. Haven, with all the util dumps, still able to get value out of the Ghost pick there, but Shadowbane to pick it off in 100, backing up with the null command, applying so much pressure, not able to use utility to couple with these short-range weapons that they have in their hands. So Regental just getting completely punished off the site, and right now Revamp making this anti-eco look absolutely beautiful.
Spike planted.
100 getting forced off so much here, and you see Revamp trying to control the tempo going into this game, getting much scrappier with it, but 2 picks out of nowhere come on the side of Ultralight and Penguin. Wow, landing 2 of the Sheriff there, and he's already on the defuse. Shadowbane on 1 HP, and Eve watching the angle. The defuse comes through and the kill comes, and a thrifty for Ultralight. What has happened in that round?
Oh my goodness. That round, I mean, I was so sure that was such an easy round to revamp, but Penguin getting those 2 shots with the Sheriff, that was so huge. That won them that round.
Wow, that's good.
That's awesome. I think, like, it's so great to see a round like that from someone like Penguin because, you know, being in the VC, like, with Ultralight, I definitely think that Penguin is one of the, like, people that you expect a little bit less from on the team.
Yeah.
There's so many big personalities and, like, strong players that I think seeing a round like that is awesome.
Yep. And from what I remember, he's actually going to enter this event with a different squad, and then last minute he ended up on Ultralight. And I think in our first series, watching him too, I mentioned it, he has looked so good in it too. He adapted very quickly into this roster, and it's a treat to see. Very proud of him and his progress in this tournament right now.
Spike planted.
He's doing really well. Revamp ready for this post plant. How is Ultralight going to take this from them?
And I like that they're going for a flank this time, but it looks like it's so labored and difficult. And they know they don't want to give them the fight through that dark cover towards main, so they're keeping the bodies here. But it makes it a lot more possible towards the side as Penguin lands the next one, but Eve still on this flank trying to do the damage, but Revamp have dealt with that flank so well. And honestly, what opened it up was Eve running into the tripwire there.
I mean,
Just confirming
I think
it so quickly.
That flank was good, right? It was a great idea. But what I saw there when watching Eve is lots of utility coming out, right? But that, like, labored it, you know, as you mentioned before, and they didn't fight together. So they peeked. One person peeked. And Eve was sitting there still throwing like a molly, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, not taking that fight together is ultimately what led to them not getting as much impact as they could have.
Yeah, that's well said. And that's a synergy that we're used to from Ultralight, so I think going into some of those post plants, some uncharacteristic plays I'm not used to from them, but like I said, that timeout they took earlier hopefully was to just regroup for the mental. Because I don't even necessarily see Ultralight needing to take a timeout still, even with that round loss as well, for anything strategic. All comes down to mindset after a little bit. And look at how much more passively they're playing as well. It's not as aggressive. If you look at the minimap here, the approach is much more towards their spawn.
I think The pace change is good to see, but they should be careful with that, right? Because last time that they did this slower pace, it did not end up very well for them.
Yeah.
And I like that they're, like, with this pace change, they're playing further back, you know? It's a lot harder for them to get caught out in the open.
30 seconds left.
Bando is getting a lot of space.
Yep. Oh,
There goes the Cypher.
yeah.
Spike down.
It looked like a nice bait and switch play over towards market, but Bando peeking out of main at the same time that they were pushing market there was just honestly exactly the layer that they needed to get that opening pick. But going into this, the plant comes through, but a 1v1, we're into it so quickly, and it's Eve versus somebody. Looking to come onto the angle, taps onto the spike, and it's going to have to be confirmed. And the sound cues are given.
Bring around the Rosie. Come on, watch your back.
Wow.
Somebody taking the 6th round. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a
And
great
he's
shot.
just joined this roster, too. He's found some really nice value in these late rounds.
I think he was definitely a great pickup on the side of Revamp. They've lost some really good players recently. So to be able to pick up someone that's as strong as somebody is, I think will be good for them. Especially going into these playoffs. Yeah. What is our econ looking like? Ultralight is broke.
Mosh pit. That's my guy.
Now, how has Eve managed to get here?
Target 86. Flash.
Instant pick coming through. That's Spike, too. This guy's going to have to go huge here. Taking down Eve, but the peak already coming through from main. And the pressure on both sides. I have no idea what happened there and how they were able to be left on that island with 3 teammates still left in the spawn, but Spike in hands of Ultralight now with that aggressive play.
My camera is destroyed.
A little bit of a throw.
Yeah. And
And
the spam's coming,
Revamp
spam's
gets
coming
the frag.
through.
Ooh.
Oh.
Maelstrom.
Last player
There's 2.
Spike down B. 30 seconds left.
I have the spike. Satchel out.
Here we go. We got the spike. And Vandal is running for A.
You think he wins this?
10 seconds
Let's
left.
see. It's definitely
got
a
it.
gun div.
Spike planted.
No, he has his phantom. Okay. We've got 1 smoke and 2 TPs from Haven. Wow. I feel like Ultralight is gonna play together well here. But 1 pick. If Vandal can get 1 pick, that gives him nade.
Yep.
Needs to be patient.
Yep. I like that from the shadows
No,
too, going for the
Vandal.
info on the site. Vando's got it in him. You see him playing around the corner, but they pinged it. He showed his gun barrel at the wrong time, so Ultralight recovering that round. I mean, but that fight over towards B, though, that was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, Eve's getting behind them and getting that space. It's really good. I mean, what is that? Maybe the 3rd or 4th time that we've seen Eve's able to flank that B. And it worked out well this time. So, great round from Ultralight. And how is not Rendezvous? How's a Revamp gonna go into this next round? Dang. It looks like we might see some mid presence again. A little bit.
Oh,
Ooh. Gentle getting caught out with that aggressive play.
yeah. Now 100 got the pick over towards mid as well, so that does trade things out in terms of the man advantage, but I'm not used to plays like that by Ultralight. As Regentle was on an island going for that
No, rotate over toward A. But it looks like Ultralight might have the read.
Oh
Yeah.
Monster on the loose.
Thrash coming through to clear the close corners, but he'll be late to the site with the spike off that one, and no one clearing towards main, so definitely a fight that can be taken here, but it's Spike that's clearing towards main?
Spike down.
What has happened here?
You never
A
wanted
complete-
to take main as Gecko.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, a complete miscommunication there by Revamp on the rotation to B, and Eve was able to pop off there, take down the spike, and because they were all elbow, they weren't able to trade that out.
I think what we
Wow.
saw there is, you know, somebody playing Jet last round or last game. We definitely see them being a little more aggressive, like taking fights. And right there, you know, taking main is not something you want to do on Gecko. You definitely want to follow through elbow and get the plant down.
Yep.
That was a really, really bad choice. And because of that, we might see a 6-6 half. Revamp with the timeout. I do hope that Fish is pointing out the mistakes that we saw last round. But hopefully they can get this next round. I don't know. I really want to see Revamp win this one because I want to see the third map. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. It looked so good for Revamp, but then just out of nowhere, Ultralight just like silently took some rounds back. They said, "Let me get those back," and like we're
Yeah.
stuck here at 5-6. If we get a 6-6 half here, I mean, I'm definitely nervous for Revamp.
I absolutely agree. I mean, we know that Ultralight is definitely really good on defense. Are we not so sure about this map? But I can assume that they do have a good defense on Sunset. And
It's a very
for
fast play.
E.
Yeah. Utility stacking onto the site. Neural theft, but wow.
Gecko.
Or null command rather, but Eve taking down Jupiter through the smoke there. And even looking to get the spam bullets as well. And the retake is coming through here. Overdrive invested, still trying to take down that ultimate there. And the Rolling Thunder to come through, but 100 going
Ooh.
down through the smoke. And Revamp, once again, put in a position that they love to be in here. Bando with the showstopper in hand. Attack comes out of the spike, but assuming they're not on here, going for another pick there. And the showstopper right through the smoke lands, yeah. But Eve pushing through it and actually gets both?
Maelstrom.
But Maelstrom cleaned it up. Yeah. What a round. I mean, if you blink, you miss that one.
That was so quick. I mean, you definitely like did so good there. Really unfortunate. I mean, he walked into that post plant 1v3. Very aggressive play. I mean, very. How do I say this? I mean, just ballsy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what other word to use. You got a word? I can't think.
I mean, that's a fair one. Honestly, that's exactly what it was. No, I agree there, but hopping here into the next half, I mean, this is where we get to see that Neon come into play, and look at this very quick control taking over here towards elbow at A. And that's the scary thing about this comp too, Anna, is that breach stun is long. So you can get that thing into places and Neon just like runs in on it, but you get an extended stun because you have the relay bolt in your hand. So I expect to see a lot of aggressive plays on this attack by Ultralight.
Go away.
I
All
agree
right.
wholeheartedly.
Let's just peek the one way and get a pick.
The
He's
breach
just different, I guess.
But they
Yeah.
heard him. Shadowbane, great pick there.
Last player standing.
And that retake was perfect.
Yep.
I mean, Regentle had such a good opportunity with that flank, you know, wrapping back around through mid, but he didn't cut noise soon enough, which is a really risky, or sorry, might I say rookie mistake. Oh, I don't know. We're seeing a Phantom on the board already from Shadowbane. Shadowbane is doing really well this game.
Yeah, he is.
Here, I'm already gonna see the B hit.
Switch it up, just for fun.
I love that purchase.
Ooh, and he did the unbreakable trip. Okay, I'm proud. That's something we were missing last game.
Yeah.
Okay, they changed their mind last second, going toward mid instead. Interesting on that second round.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with the guns that they have here, usually yes, you can force a close range fight in this position alone, but oh, and they did exactly that.
Spike down.
Able to take
mid.
him down. So far, playing around it together. And he looks really good, but look at these guys posted up. With long range here, they can't deal with it. Yeah. I like the idea of coming mid here, but the issue is once you get those opening picks and the team delays enough, you're usually stuck with a long range fight of someone shooting you from A. If you don't go B fast enough.
Eve's wrapping back toward mid. But 1 HP on both people from each ultralight. I like that Revamp is going through their spawn. You know, trying to avoid getting, you know, caught and shot in the back there.
Eve able to call out this sound, so all Regento has to do is play around it safely. That plant as well is really good. The stun here. Gonna be able to take Lil Bro off the bomb. And they're gonna have to get back onto it. It is halved right now, but they're gonna go into the peak there. And the round, the Thrifty comes through. They played that clutch perfectly right there.
I mean, they were both 1 HP and they managed to get that round. Something we've seen a couple of times now is that Ultralight really knows how to work around those eco rounds. Right, this is not their first Thrifty in this series.
Yep.
So, oh, we might have something to learn from them. Thrifty is not easy to do.
True that.
Something I just saw. Eves threw away a Spectre to buy a Vandal. Who needs money?
Gotta go.
Fault line coming through, paired with the flash there to allow 100 to get into this position. And he does, but Jupiter getting caught out by an aggressive... Who trips that? Who trips that?
Spike planted.
If it works, it works.
That's amazing. And it's still there, too. Someone else is going to run into it. And look at that stun, too.
Go, go, go.
100 playing nicely around the angle. Has been a nuisance there since the pistol. And is still playing that angle on their retakes. Trying to deny anyone to flood from this defender's position. So you see them grouped up here right now, and somebody trying to do the damage from behind, but it's not enough. Revamp caught in a very awkward situation, so all they can ask for here is to do damage. And that they're looking for. Regento taking him down. And there's the next one.
Oh, pretty. And that is a very quick timeout there. Wow. All right, so Revamp. We're gonna talk about playing together a little bit better. You know, their post plant. Sorry, not post plant. Retake. Their retakes need a little bit of work, right? So whenever they play on attack, right, their post plant, they work really well together, and they need to bring that synergy into their retakes. Being a little bit more aware. Jupiter getting caught in that trip. That is a weird trip. But you never know what you're going to find. Every corner that you turn, there could be a trip there, right? You hear the audio. Pay attention a little bit. And they're going to talk about that loss, that Thrifty, because that one hurt. That one hurt a lot.
That could be the pivotal round, too, to bring Ultralight back into this map and bring them a lead. And I wanted to piggyback off something you said there about the tripwire, listening for sound and just paying more attention. I mean, the thing is, it comes down to that tiny micro usually, you know, where teams are more detailed and other teams are less detailed in those areas. And those are the little things I usually take note of, like watching a lot of these teams and how that affects their macro game. And you're totally right when it comes to that. And we're going to see that develop even more and more. I think those micro details are going to become more and more important going into these playoffs, because these teams have had a lot of looks against each other so far. Like, there's plenty of odds to be said about all these teams from the group stage. So you can only imagine that everyone's going to more and more know your tendencies. Like knowing Penguin likes to place that aggressive trip, or knowing that Shadowbane uses passive trips on Breeze. Those are all the little micro things that I expect to see change from all the teams. And I want to see that from Revamp going into this out of that timeout.
I know that they've practiced anti-stratting, so I want to see that anti-stratting rate. If they've watched the VODs, they know how Ultralight plays. How are they going to play around that? You know, think about everything that you've learned and apply that to the game.
Yep.
Cage triggered.
There's another nice little micro detail there. The fragment coming over towards Secret there. Forcing him off the angle, but it still keeps him there. And they haven't dealt with Eve in the Secret spot. So he's able to get 3. Left on to 4 HP, but still 2 left standing on the side of Revamp. And they go on to the defuse there, but he takes it off as the aftershock comes through. He's not able to get it. So Maelstrom looking for the defuse still there, but he gets off the spike, and Regento able to trade it off. And I mean, it was so close, but Ultralight, they're here, and they're here to stay.
Just maybe if he had a couple more bullets in his gun, it might have been possible.
Yep.
I mean, Ultralight, like I said, their defense are yeah. I'm struggling a little bit to talk. Okay.
Yeah, because these rounds are so, like, close. There's a lot of things to notice about the micro, but once they actually get down to the action, it happens so fast.
Yeah. But Ultralight's attack, we know that their attack is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I love watching this.
Yeah.
Like, down to the wire, they play around each other so well.
Spike planted.
Going for a peek there. Somebody, but 100 landing the overdrive through the cage there on the Shadowbane's head. He's able to do the damage, and right now he is the plan to cause the disruptions on this site right now as the rest of this team plays towards main. The stall is so well, and it's honestly making them expend a lot more utility early going into this. And the aftershock somehow landing a kill there from Regento, but Bando landing 2 down in Havan to claim more. And the bodies just drop. Yeah.
None of my stuff
I
has
mean,
functioned yet.
So
They
I wanna
turned it
talk
around.
about 100 there, right? So typically, whenever you see a Neon ult, they're just running in. You know, they don't have a care in the world. They are running in and they are not stopping. So to see 100 to play more passively, I liked that. You know, I liked that instead of just rushing into Boba, he played back. You know, he played to stall, and that worked in his team's favor so well. That was great.
Shutting them down.
Spike drop.
How much more passive take into this round?
Yeah, and I like it too because most of the time they clear towards the space. It's coupled up with the KO flash, breach stun, neon slide, but they just contact right into it.
I'm out of here.
And I'm not sure, without a single piece of utility usage, how they were able to just take that space and revamp. Looks like their plan is to play for the retakes into this, but a nice look over the dark cover there. A bit of a user error onto that He's able to give Bando that sight line, so he's able to take one down ahead of the retake, but the lurk of Penguin gets a trade. So the tools coming into this is starting to stack up against Ultralight, to be honest with you, as the Thrash lands onto 100, and the Showstopper still in the hands of Bando. He's coming out here, taking one down towards default. Regental rolling Thunder, so it's a bait play to get into this retake. The shots are so labored though, so he's not able to land them. And Revamp just dropped all of the bodies of Ultralight coming into that. I mean, the plan looked so clear-cut from both teams, but just didn't go the way of Ultralight.
Execute.
I mean, great retake from Revamp. That's exactly what I wanted to see from them.
Yep.
That was an interesting round, right? So both teams played slow, something we haven't seen too much of. So for both teams to play like pack and play passive in the same round was interesting. You know, who's gonna take that first fight? Who's gonna make noise first? So I liked that. And let's see, Ultralight with the timeout. Interesting. You know what? They lost one round. Just one, after having 4 wins in a row. So to have a timeout already, I'm not really sure what I can expect them to say. I mean, that round wasn't bad. Revamp just played it a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe it's to break up momentum, stop Revamp from like feeling too excited about winning a round. I don't know.
I think that that's also indicative of the standards that they have on that Ultralight roster as well. I mean, I think that's like the second aggressive timeout that we've called out here on this map by them, and I think it's good to stop the momentum early on. You know, make sure that the other team doesn't gain any sort of latch there after like a single round win. It can be detrimental, or it can be, you know, good later in the game. It's definitely a double-edged sword utilizing that early on, because you only get one timeout per half. So, but presumably we're gonna get a very different look coming out of it though. As you see, the utility's already layered so differently right now. And look at where this take is coming. 100 is in their spawn and somehow still able to live to do that much damage as they push through Market and takes him down. I don't know what happened with Shadowbane there, but he wasn't able to support him quickly.
I mean, you blink and you miss that entire push. They were in Market as soon as the barriers went down.
Yep. And the Neural Theft comes through. So Revamp trying to get ahead of this one right now. But the 0 point to come onto the site. The fault line to deny the take momentarily, and the fragment going towards main, and the pressure starts to mount into the retake as Wingman is on the spike still. But they take him down. And so far it's just a spam fest towards main. So they're trying to get him off the spike here, but as they line up, he can't get the shot. And the defuse comes through. Once again, what a close round.
Shout out to Lil Bro for getting that half.
Yeah, true.
Lil Bro's the MVP of that round.
Yep. Gotta love Wingman.
That was just an insane round. Like I said, as soon as the barriers went down, they took that Market. They were aggressive. They were in their spawn. That was such a good take. That post plant just wasn't what they needed.
This goes here.
Right there. There.
See, the mid push again, but slower this time. Wow.
It's a clinical pace change by Ultralight. So you see the question marks on the head of Revamp, but Shadowbane able to deal with the pressure. You see the retake coming right through. The 0 point to come through, and right now 100 pushing through that. And he's been so aggressive so far, and it's been very hit or miss. You have to be careful with that. And the aggression coming backside here from Ultralight. They do not want to give up a single piece of space on this site. And Maelstrom trying to find the timing around this trap wire over by Market. But now that he's been confirmed in the position, the flash comes through towards backside, and they win the fight, but still the trades come through. And Haven doing an incredible job there. Paint shells to force him out of the angle, but Penguin still getting the wall bang. Wow. And even the BM to follow it up. We got a match on our hands.
That was beautiful. So, Ultralight there, they took mid again, right? Last round, taking mid works beautiful for them. Their post plant, you know, gave up the round. So taking mid, they were slow, right? They didn't give up any info, but as soon as that Cypher cam spotted them, they exploded onto Cypher's site.
Yep.
And that was beautiful, you know. And then I like that they didn't give up space. Like they kept site, they didn't just fall back into main. And that change itself was enough to win them that round.
And I think even early in the group stage, to what you were speaking about, Ultralight showed us that style too. They like to have those explosive rounds and then use those quiet rounds to just plant the seed of doubt in their opponents. And I noticed that that's the macro that they're running right now. And it's been working so far in this attack. It's an adjustment very well made, and presumably after that timeout with their coach, I think that's the switch that they were looking for, because it's been working so well, looking for that first piece of contact, looking for the setup, and then just pushing into the where the pressure wasn't. So that's how you see them with this free A site right now. And Jupiter answering on to the lurker this time though. So it's gonna make the job all that much more harder for Ultralight. And this time Eve still playing the same spot on Secret. They're gonna have to clear this one down. This time, Thrash coming right on through towards the site, doesn't clear behind them, and once again, they don't clear it. But Eve only able to land one as the spray transfer doesn't come through. So Jupiter with the trade here, but Regental, he's been so good in these post plants with the stall utility on this breach. And there it is, first shot comes right on through. Wingman onto the spike right now, and Maelstrom with the pressure back sight. But the shots are so labored, he's still on the spike. He doesn't stop the defuse from the Wingman. Man, that is a toss you can't have happening this late in the game. And the 11th round goes to Revamp there. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I'll have to say it again. Shout out to Lil Bro. I mean, not killing that Wingman. You can't make that kind of mistake. You hear him on bomb. Why are you not swinging him? You saw that the Omen. You saw that Maelstrom was back sight. He wouldn't be able to protect Wingman.
Go get him.
Wow.
Take this. Go.
And we already have an explosive round coming out here for Ultralight. And they're trying to re-control the tempo going back into this. So you see them taking a break from those slow rounds, but already 100 getting taken down from the off angle there, and they're still pushing into the spawn. Again, they've been trying this so many rounds, but it's so hit or miss every single time. So you see Regental probably gonna post up for this Rolling Thunder as the Dizzy comes right on through. Eve gets confirmed into the corner, so going down, and no support left in store. So once again, we're getting that spam fest through the smoke. Rolling Thunder to come right through on the tap, and the flash to couple it down. So far, Ultralight managing this very well, but he plays around the smoke in the one-way. It's covering their sight lines, but Regental's still able to get the peek through it. And right now, with one onto the spike, he gets the first one. He tries to go for the second, and he doesn't, but the spike still explodes, and Penguin stalled for just enough time to bring it to 11-11.
Oh, wow. Post plant, beautiful. Rolling Thunder, exactly what they needed, you know. Take that time to, like, tease the enemies, jiggle that one way, pick off the planter. It was beautiful. And then I think after that, you know, we had an explosive round. They're gonna play slow again here, for sure.
And there's such a push and pull dynamic to that macro as well. And I like it a lot. But Revamp, definitely impressive the way that they're dealing with it compared to what they did on Breeze. And as this very heavy mid control comes out from Ultralight, see them trying to get a look into this dark cover with the stingers in hand, but
Hi, I'm pissed.
and look at how aware they are to this as well. The flash comes right on through, and no one playing for the ante there just weren't ready for that. The dark cover to come through to help Jupiter onto the angle. And right now, the null command was not enough to take them off the angle. And look at where Penguin is. Maybe able to take them down as he gets through that B spot. And look at how Ultralight have dealt with this mid control. It's insane. And they've regained the lead off of that call alone.
Match point.
I mean, that was a great round. Like, their mid pushes are insane. Like, that is so strong.
Yep.
One thing in particular about that round that I just can't stop thinking about was watching Eves push out through the smoke and spray at 100. Getting jump scared by his own teammate.
Yes, this should be.
I mean, that's the nerve settling in too. Look at the score line. I mean, this is crazy. Right now, nerves settling in so deep on both sides. And these are the types of round that really separates the men from the boys. Are you able to play past those nerves? Are you able to wipe out of your mind the reality that this series could be lost by just this round alone? So Revamp are going to have to get over that mental hurdle coming into this if they want a chance in the series. Haven. Oh, but they know. He's going to get caught out there. Not aware of the angle that he was exposed to. And the rotations were enough to catch him out. And the Thrash coming towards Market. Right now, it's looking good for Revamp, but Ultralight have done so many great things at man disadvantages that it's not quite convincing yet. And Eve, once again, playing this very forward position. Redental trying to support him, getting out of there, and he does. They don't want to play around that smoke. They know Revamp is so good at that main choke point fight. And as they come out onto the site, showstopper pop there for Bando. Going towards mid, does not land it here. Shots are labored towards the site, but his body's still dropping. And Eve going down. And Revamp have made it look so good coming into the retake. And there it is, but 2 kills through the smoke there for Penguin. But Wingman's still on the spike, gonna have to find it, and he doesn't. Jupiter coming right on through, and it pushes it to overtime.
Wow.
Wow.
Switching sides.
Wow.
Overtime.
Oh my. Wow. Just wow. Just wow.
Me too.
This was here.
This is a close one.
goes
This
there.
is stressful. I can only imagine the stress that they're feeling as well.
Very.
You know, these rounds mean everything, right? These rounds determine, is Ultralight moving on, or is there another map to
This is a nice
determine?
spot.
Yep. And the difference about this kind of series, too, compared to what a match meant in the group stage is, I mean, losing this puts you into the lower bracket. You know, like, you want to be winning your games. I mean, you did want to in the groups as well, but it just means so much different things right now. So you see Revamp trying so hard to stay ahead of this one. And I can just tell by the way they're playing it as well that the nerves are settling in. They don't want to have to deal with the lower bracket in the first round of this. Trying to push it to this third map as hard as they can. They're playing it slowly here. Shadowbane on alert towards A, trying to listen for that sound as they apply pressure towards B. And you see the numbers, honestly, from Ultralight are not on B. They're getting a bit of a read towards mid, and we saw that in the first half too, Anna. When it was quiet, there was a lot of mid presence.
We heard Revamp, you know, make those footsteps going back, and then they cut noise, they re-hit, and it has worked in their favor.
Yep.
Ooh,
Penguin.
Planted.
accidentally killing Jupiter.
Yep. And 100 getting that trade as well just makes it all the much more harder, but once again, Revamp are so good at playing behind the smoke in main. And this time you even see the Shrouded step to get above it and try to get a different vantage point. And as the aftershock comes right on through the tap on the spike, they're going to have to confirm it at some point. And they're bringing the fight to them. He's not still on the spike here, and this time the fight goes their way for Ultralight. And once again, clinching that advantage.
Right, so if Revamp
Switching
want to
sides.
take this map, they really
Match
needed
point.
that round.
Yeah.
Their defense is not as good as their attack. However, this is still winnable. Right? They need to play smart. They need to think, how have Ultralight played this map so far? Right? Whenever you see what they're doing, how are you gonna respond? How are you going to react? Because they are playing very reactive. They're not playing proactive at all on their defense. So
Yep.
they just got to think about it. But I'm thinking here, with this timeout, are we going to see something entirely different? Like, are they going to play outside of the box? Or are we just going to see them do something that they've already done?
It's
No?
hard because when you start gambling with playing with things outside of the box in rounds like this, especially in overtime, when you have that advantage on your side, there's usually nerves surrounding make a decision like that. So presumably this timeout being used to figure out if they want to go for something like that or not, I'd love it. I mean, it's definitely a good thing to do, right? A lot of times you get into these overtimes and it goes just back and forth forever because both teams are playing it so standard and everyone's afraid to make, you know, a riff in the matrix. And I think that's what Ultralight are going to do. So, yeah. I think so.
Oh, we see the pings on the map. They intend to hit market?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen from them before, and it did work very well. There's the read from Revamp. And they back out.
Flash.
Smart move.
Yep. And I like the setup that Revamp has as well. I know it's very, very passive, but it is covering all the angles, especially with market door closed. They're aware that Ultralight love this mid. So you see that where the agents are stacked, they can get quick rotations to A or B, but they can fight mid in the meantime before they go for those rotations. So I like that they're playing it standard like that, but they have to win the retake. Like, you have to play for retake when you do this early round. And that's what we're going to see this round, is a retake. And they're going into it as a 4v4. I mean, that trade almost didn't go their way. He's lucky that fragment got him.
Spike planted.
Once again, the explosive take after first contact.
Yep.
Shadow Flame with 2 picks.
Cover going.
Amazing.
Tagged.
Yep. So good with these
Player
retakes.
standing.
And
once
it's
again-
a 1v4.
Wow. These retakes are insane from Revamp on this map. And that's why, and they know that too. You can tell the way they're playing the early round. They know they can gamble to go for a retake. And so this is going to be very difficult going into this overtime for
sides.
Ultralight to work with. They're going to have to be a lot more aggressive on their attack rounds in this overtime.
I liked how they played it. You know, they waited for the first point of contact and then they exploded on the site. But they need to take extra space.
Yes.
They need
Yep.
to push into CT, take main, because of the simple fact that Revamp is going to be holding back until they can explode back, right?
Yep.
Like they're waiting for that retake,
goes there.
and they're essentially attacking site again, and it's working out wonderfully.
And this is that standard setup we saw from Ultralight for majority of the game as well. Breach Omen towards A with the one-way. A Cypher K over here towards B while Neon jump spots mid. Which is smart too, because you can get fast rotations from the agent. But as the B take comes right on through, it looks like it's a retake angle for Ultralight. And that's what we're going to see in this overtime too. I don't expect it to change. Retake after retake. But Ultralight are going to have to deal with this the way that they did the last one.
I mean, very heavy post plant.
Yep.
Fragment goes out. Oh, 100.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
The utility claiming bodies as well, and the rifles answering back and forth. All the bodies dropping for Revamp, and wow. The confidence still on the side of
Switching
Ultralight. I mean,
sides.
both teams making these retakes look so good on this right now. And I know I talked early in the game about wanting to see both teams be proactive on that defense, but they really don't need it if they're playing the retakes like this. But the real question, honestly, and in this overtime, is which one of these teams is going to win the retake on attack?
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at.
I need to.
Oh, wow. I think we're seeing the stack toward mid once again. But this time, Shadowman is not there to close the door. Which means that they're going to have free access.
Yep. Uh-oh. It's a quiet mid again, but he gives some sound there. He still recovers one, but whew, Eve with the trade. And the tension is so high right now. We are on series point on the side of Ultralight, so Revamp feeling the pressure mount as they quickly start to approach towards this. Somebody taking this door down. But this time Eve is left planted into this spot. He's not going anywhere. Gonna make it all that much more harder to deal with this. The flash coming through and nobody to break it. But the flash around the angle is still around to do it. But Revamp still claiming 2 bodies off the back of Eve's 1 frag. So it puts them at a man advantage. Penguin and Regento playing around this again. And we've seen that Aftershock get value time and time again. And Jupiter able to line them up at the end there, yeah. I mean, someone has to win the retake on attack.
Switching sides. Overtime.
Wow. Another timeout. Wow. What are they going to do differently?
I gotta take a breather.
Like, I need to get my popcorn or something.
Right?
This
I
is...
mean, I expected this to be close, but did you expect it to be this close?
I mean, no. Wow, I did not expect to go into overtime, especially not, like, as far as we've gone. And 29. I mean, wow. 30-round game. Are we even gonna make, are we even gonna make it to the next series in time?
Yeah, probably. I mean, if Ultralight win this here, then yeah. But if we go to a third map, absolutely not.
Wow. Alright, let's see. I'm excited to see what fish is cooked up for them here.
Mm-hmm.
He's setting up for a default.
And Eve, look how deep inserted mid he is too. So you can hear these rotations coming through. That's why you see Ultralight rotating towards B already. Because Eve getting the sound.
Oh.
And somebody expected it too, but unable to land the shot. And Penguin this time playing so much deeper onto the site here.
He really
He's playing around this dark cover.
Last player standing.
Wow. Great round from Penguin.
Man.
I mean, for the past, like, few rounds of overtime, right, with Ultralight on defense, we've seen Penguin in that corner, but he's never gotten caught in that corner. So it's worked repeatedly.
Oh, this rivalry is great. I got to see these guys go up against each other again.
I mean, I know I mentioned the beef, but I wasn't expecting body shooting every single round.
And Eve almost dropping 30 with 18 assists. Neon with 21 assists. I mean,
21 assists is insane.
Yeah, that's wild.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
Getting so much value out of the stun too. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you like to see.
We've got 6 triple doubles on the board.
Mm-hmm.
So you know they're playing well off of each other. Very different attack from Ultralight here. We haven't seen anything like this yet. They usually stack together a lot.
I like this too. They're trying to simulate that pressure towards A with the breach flash and the Neon running in to get that pick towards the elbow position. And so they're trying to bait a fight out towards B, but it's just not happening. Again, Revamp know that they can play in their spawn because they're so confident with their retake ability that these early round aggressions just don't work anymore by Ultralight.
It's funny looking at the mini map and seeing the cones just jiggle back and forth all the way.
Yeah.
Looks like it's gonna be an A hit, maybe. And now they know.
Yep. The real question is, can
30
Ultralight
seconds
win
left.
the retake, but on attack this time?
Oh.
As you see them approaching this retake right now, it's a full 5v5 affair. And they're being very patient about going into it too, waiting for the dark covers to dissipate. And there's the Paranoid to come right on through and the Dizzy. And they're landing the kills as the bodies drop, and this time it's looking so much more in favor of Ultralight. But Revamp still have some skin in the game, and there it is. Finally cleaning up the round and getting the victory there is Ultralight. Man.
And Revamp gets knocked into the lower bracket.
Yeah. What a long series, too, and it was only 2 maps.
That was 2 hours.
Yeah.
Over 2 hours. Wow.
Yep.
Great games from both teams. I mean, that second game in particular was great. 16-14.
Yep.
Eves, again, with the MVP.
Yeah, and it's a great performance. I mean, to piggyback off the MVP is, I mean, again, it just shows the flexibility of that player on this roster. Still being able to be the full lobby MVP, playing KO, going 31-20. I mean, Jupiter not too far behind. Once again, in that second position, Jupiter had a hell of a series. I mean, I have to give hats off to him. I know they lost the series as a team, but Jupiter was definitely a top performer for Revamp into this. And I can just tell they probably won't take this loss too easily because, I mean, they did so much prep going into this. And I could tell they had ideas on Sunset, on their map pick. I could tell they really were leaning on that going their way. Because Breeze, just by the way that Breeze went, I could tell that wasn't expected by Revamp. They didn't know that Ultralight were going to pick that against them. But they had plans going into Sunset and still couldn't clinch it into overtime. And I think that's what they were leaning on. And I think that's why this series stings a lot more than a regular one, especially with a performance like that on Jupiter. So hopefully not taking it too hard and just gearing themselves up for that bottom bracket run.
I mean, I do think that Revamp definitely has a chance in the lower bracket. I'm definitely excited to see how they do in the future. But, I mean, against Ultralight, I mean, what can you do? They look so good.